toughest strongman in history, right here.
It's not a beauty contest. This is Strongman. Have to be alive if you can't do deadlift. And away we
go! So guys, we have the first Giants Live competition of 2023. I am joined by the one and only Darren Sadler and former Britain's Strongest Man, Mr. Graham Hicks. I'm going to start with Darren. First comp of the year. It's a busy year as well. Last year was unbelievable, but starting with Britain's Strongest Man, what do you think is going to happen? And are you excited for what you've got planned for this year?
Yeah, we've got loads of good stuff planned this year. It's always nice to get the first comp out the way. Britain's is such a great show. It's always a sellout arena, Sheffield. We've done it quite a few times now, so we just sort of go in there as a crew, and we just, we know where everything is. And same as the athletes, they feel quite comfortable competing there now because a lot of them have done it 5 or 6 times. We're looking forward to it. We've got a few new guys coming through. We've had a couple of injuries, unfortunately, and a few old faces as well coming back. So, yeah, it's definitely an interesting one.
Yeah, I think it's a shame about some of the injuries and pullouts. Obviously, it would have been so good to see Terry Hollands competing, talking about wanting to do one last show. The real big one, I think, Luke Richardson. He's been looking so good.
Shame, yeah.
And it's injury after injury that he seems to be suffering with.
Yeah, I mean, Terry wanted to compete, and obviously we welcomed him because he's got such a pedigree, and Terry always turns up in shape. Probably just didn't give himself long enough time, I think. But he'll be there, and he'll be doing some commentary with you, so that's cool.
Looking forward to that.
Terry is obviously at the end of his strongman career. He's done loads of shows, and he's been third in the world and done all the great stuff that he's done and won Britain's and all these different things. Luke's at the start, and he's been plagued with injuries, obviously. So it's a crying shame, and he was actually in really good shape. All the guys have been coming down training, so everyone could see what he was doing, and he was, in my opinion, one of the few people that could win it.
I absolutely agree. I came up before Christmas, and he looked phenomenal.
Yeah, he looked great, and he's actually a lot fitter than he's ever been as well. So I think Giants Live's a very fast-paced show by its nature, and I think I couldn't have put him off the podium. He had to be on the podium for me.
Absolutely. I think, as devastating as it is, and we wish Luke and Terry the best of luck with recovery. It's given some new faces a chance to get a last-minute call-up to Britain's, which is a good thing to have these new guys coming through. Been quite impressed with what Giants Live have done. They've actually looked at comp results, and you guys have really decided to focus on picking athletes that are winning competitions, which I think, firstly, I would say for any up-and-coming athlete, get out there and compete. Show what you can do. Don't be staying in the gym just lifting a PB saying you should be invited to these shows. Go out, compete in these competitions, and win stuff. Then you're going to prove you're going to yourself and get yourself invited to these shows. I think too many people are trying to protect themselves by just show what they can do in the gym.
And also doing a show is the best experience. Some people seem to be scared of getting beat. Yeah. You know what I mean? Which, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. One thing we've identified is there is a lack of qualifiers for Giants Live. We've got the official Strongman World Championships in Daytona, which anyone can enter. But when it came to picking someone else that's got to be British, we looked at other competitions and see where everyone was, because really we're lacking an England's qualifier for the Giants Live. We have a Scottish, an Irish, and a Welsh, but it was difficult to pick the English guys. Parr was obviously out. Obviously, he was, at the top of the Irish tree there. But he's okay now, but he hasn't had a chance to train. He's pulled his hamstring. But yeah, so we had a look round, and that's what we made our picks from other people's shows. And I think we made the right decision. There was a big list of people. Don't get me wrong, because it was quite close. And I dare say there's people disappointed, but we can't pick everyone. But for those guys that got close and didn't get an invite, please don't take it personally. I think we've got a great lineup, and I think next year, or should I say this year, 2023, there's a lot more opportunities for those guys to go against the guys that have just got in.
So you said there's going to be a qualifier this year for England as well?
There will be an English qualifier for this show. That'll be on this year. And it will be probably an invite thing or an online qualifier. So there won't be any arguments next year about, because obviously everyone's friends and families and coaches think, oh, my guy should go instead of this guy because he's a better deadlifter, a better squatter. Well, we try and look at the bigger picture. But if we put on a show where they all go against each other, there's no argument.
Absolutely.
And that's how it should be. But I suppose in our defence, we've been trying to put on all these great shows, but we need to look below a little bit and see what's happening, because what we're trying to do this year, like we did last year, is bring on a lot more new guys. Like you saw Giants Live last year, we had a lot more new guys coming through. We had more variation, and that sort of led them to get better. You even said it to me. People are getting better, these guys, but they need a chance to climb up the tree. You know what I mean?
I think it's actually a good opportunity for people to get the foot in the door outside of official strongman, because not everybody can afford the trip to get there anyway. So if it's in this country, exactly. I think you'll get more people interested.
And also, there's going to be an official Strongman European Championships this year,
right?
So they won't have to travel too far, and again, that'll get qualifying spots to the World Championships.
So there's lots of opportunities for these up and coming athletes coming up this year.
Exactly.
Brilliant. Well, talking of this year, we've got our former champion, Graham Hicks. What kind of shape are you feeling, mate? You look fantastic, by the way. Your training's looking really good.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe a light bulb moment at some point a couple of months ago. Just did stuff that was well out of my comfort zone. Started doing more training towards my conditioning, more cardio. Changed my diet, and 11 kilos later, still feel powerful. But obviously, the things that I used to be good at when I first started, being fast, quick on stuff, fast on my feet, light on my feet, it's all coming back finally.
It's funny because a lot of people don't think of you like that, do they?
No.
We all think of you as this powerful, absolute powerhouse, monster, log presser, huge deadlift, huge squat. But you were extremely fast, coming from under 105s originally.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Gateshead Britons that you won, I won the loading. My first event and my first Worlds was loading, I won that. I always placed top 2 or 3 in loading for like the first few years in the open category. And then obviously when I got a bit bigger, then that placing soon fell down. And then obviously the last 2 years it's been a bit of a nightmare in my groin. If I've tried to train loaded, I never trained it properly because I was too scared of hurting it. So I never really came prepared. But I feel very different. I feel very prepared for this. Loading has been going great. I'm actually probably, if I'm going to say out of any of them, I'm excited to see where that one is. That's the one I want to go out and prove to myself that I have improved at it.
Just that personal challenge.
Yeah, and then obviously that proves to everyone else as well that, I'm not just a static monster. I can still move.
Well, I can remember from personal experience competing with you and you being like lightning fast on certain events.
And I feel like I'm fast again. And people are telling me that I look fast. I mean, my wife's watched my training and she said, I've not seen you move like this in years.
I think it's finding that balance, isn't it?
Yeah. And I kind of always used to say, 150 kilo marker was a good marker for me. But after the Liverpool show, Kim said to me, she says, do you think you can get under 150 for Brits? Aim for 145. And I just laughed. I was like, you must be joking. And lo and behold, I'm not far off. Yeah, so it's just been a nice change. I mean, it's even impacted well on my whole life, like just how I am with everything. It's had a good impact overall.
Just feeling better in yourself?
Just feel better, more positive, just have a little bit more energy. And, like even training, I find that I'm having less rest and that, my power's still there. I don't feel as powerful because you don't, when you lose weight fast, you just feel a bit smaller. And I think, if over a bit of time, as I put weight back on, I'll feel stronger again. But, I still am strong, but I'm still getting over the 11 kilos in 8 weeks, really.
I'm sure you're still very, very strong. Obviously, you're one of the heavy favourites this weekend. Who do you see as the athletes that you've got to be looking out for and, who's gonna push you in this weekend?
Obviously, Bish is my main threat. But over the course of the 5 events, in my own head, I believe I'll be too much for him to handle. if I don't make any mistakes. But you got likes of Shane Flowers who can take points off both of us. Gav's very consistent. And then even like the new guys that are coming in, they've all got some decent events that they're good at. Like Ryan's good at the Viking press. I don't know anything, sorry about the Irish guy, but you know, for all I know, he could be exceptionally good at loading. You know, you just don't know. There's always points to be taken in events. Felix, as old as he is, he's very stubborn. He always takes points off you.
I was saying on my channel with Liz that I think Felix has got 4 pretty good events this week.
Yeah, he does.
That's why I think, yeah.
I think the Viking press, we all know he's I mean, it's probably one of the better overheads for him, but he's going to drop points there. But he's a great deadlifter. He's got an unbelievable grip, so he can probably get through that deadlift without having to use straps.
He'll do all the power stairs easy enough.
He'll finish the power stairs. He's decent at loading.
He's always good at loading, and he's always good at car.
So
you
yeah,
know.
he's very good at car walk actually. Like I think people don't appreciate how good he is at that event. He's always scoring.
And he
big
doesn't.
points
What he's okay at, he hasn't seemed to have got any worse at. He's just stayed.
Yeah,
there.
it's
You know,
just
got
everyone
older.
else has sort of brought that level up.
Yeah.
But Mark is still 50, nearly 57.
I think Mark could possibly, depending on how everyone else places, I can get on the podium possibly.
I've said this. Like
Yeah.
I thought maybe I'm going crazy.
That would be amazing.
It would be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It would be great. And I can see it happening because I just think the other guys, there's some guys that are really good at certain events, but they're not good at others.
Yeah.
Like him because he isn't a good presser.
There's not many athletes that you'd look at and say they're really good at everything.
At 4 events,
Yeah,
he's got 4 good events, definite.
Absolutely. I mean, Shane Flowers, looking forward to seeing him back. He's going to be someone that I'd expect to be up there.
Yeah.
Gav
yeah.
Bilton.
I think Gav's pretty good at everything. I don't think Gav will possibly not win an event, but I think he'll do pretty good at everything.
And he's making nice, steady progress at the moment. He improved last year. He's been working hard on improving his fitness as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing how Gav does. I think the local boy, Paul Smith, is always worth watching. I think power stairs we saw him do in in Glasgow was a big weakness.
Yeah.
So that could potentially...
He's been
hinder him.
training it. He's been using the power stairs quite a bit, but yeah, it is a weakness for him. But he's quick at stuff, is Paul. Paul can move
Fast,
like hell.
Good presser.
Yeah.
His deadlift's improving all the time. I actually saw him do a deadlift ladder, slightly different variation in a competition in the summer. Because he's got a good grip, he went without the straps and he actually did very, very well at it. So it's probably a type of deadlift that suits him more than it just being a max or a deadlift for reps.
I mean, funnily enough, I think at Europe's Strongest Man when we did it last year, I think Luke Stoltman won it, or maybe came second in the deadlift ladder, and no one expected that.
It throws up some interesting results, doesn't it?
It's not like straightforward, is it?
Yeah, when it's max, it's just about how much you can lift.
That's
but
it,
there's just
yeah.
these little elements and timings that it can kind of... You've got to... How do you kind of approach that, being an athlete?
Well, obviously, I'm quite fortunate that I had a stint doing powerlifting, so I've trained for this without straps, and I think that gives me a massive advantage.
Are you going to go through the whole...
That's
the whole
my
ladder?
plan, yeah. I will probably leave a pair of straps next to the last bar, but unless there's... I'd have to have just a slight doubt that I can't get the last one.
Is it 5 or 4 bars?
It's 5.
5, yeah.
Starting at 300 up to 380.
That's
Yeah.
right, yeah. We did it up to 400 for Europe, so nobody finished it, so we dropped it down a little bit.
Well, we were chatting just earlier, weren't we? Like, if you said 380, 90% of these athletes can pull 380. But to do it after doing those other pulls is a very different beast.
In my head, I think if 5 people do it, I'll be quite impressed.
Who do you reckon could finish it then?
So, me, Adam, Shane Flowers, and then I have Gav and Felix down as the potential next 2.
Yeah.
The Irish boy, he's pulled 420, and he got 441 to his knees.
Wow.
I watched a video of it,
Right,
or 440 something. Give it a good old pull, so you've got to be quite strong to even have a go at that. But I think people, with the log ladder and the deadlift ladder, people just totally misjudge it.
Yeah, they do.
It's totally different to the reps or to a max.
But I mean, I've done it twice in training. Once I did it on the video I posted up. I had a different set of bars. I ran through it quite comfortable. And then the second time I did it, I just used one bar, which is a similar bar to the one we're using, and I just got people to put plates on, and it was still okay. So, I think to myself, if I've done it twice already, why do I need to think about straps? And if I do it like that, I don't think if someone's using straps, how the hell are they going to beat me?
Well, and also it's the first event, so it's not like you're going to be fatigued. You should
No.
be really fresh for that.
So
Daz, you've had the privilege of watching a lot of the guys come up and train, because obviously you let anyone come and train that's competing. I guess most of them have come up and used the kit.
All of them, apart from the guys that have just been invited as a reserve, last minute.
So taking Bish and Hicksy out of it, who's looking good on certain events? Who should we be looking out for?
Well, I think, like I said before, people have got good events, but have also got bad events. Like Mark Felix, we know he's not going to do very well on the Viking press, but he could get just about any result. He could get top 3 in every other event, which I think could, like I say, possibly get him on the podium. Gav's not very fast at stuff. He's steady, but he always does it.
Yeah.
Gav will do the car walk, but he won't be the fastest person. I think he'll probably do the deadlift. And he can press as well. He's a good presser.
I think Gav did well at the deadlift at Worlds last year.
Yeah.
Similar type of deadlift.
He did really well at Worlds, yeah. And people don't put him as a big deadlifter because he goes to the World Deadlift Championships. He got the Welsh record, which was like 420. But it's because of the people who are trying to pull 500
Imagine
kilos.
pulling 420 in our day.
It's massive, yeah. So I think people maybe underestimate his deadlift a little bit. But he'll be steady, but he'll do well. Shane Flowers, I'm not too sure. I think his fitness will get him through it. I think he'll be good at loading and things like that. And obviously, with him being an ex-powerlifter, he's a good deadlifter. And I'm just excited to see what these new guys do. But the guy who won the England Strongest Man this year, Ryan,
yeah.
I mean, he's been down training a couple of times. I was really impressed with him.
I'm looking forward to seeing how he can do.
I mean, you came down with him to mine and train, and I was like, wow, he's very good. He's a hell of a presser.
Yeah. He's one of those athletes that he's very steady all round. Like, there's no obvious weakness. Still needs to improve maybe in a few areas, but he's not got a weakness. And I think if he can kind of cope with the pressure.
I think the show doing good to see where he is. He's such a nice guy as well. He gets on with everybody. And like you said, Paul Smith. I wouldn't like to call from. I think that Hicksy and Bish are the favourites. There's no secret there. Whoever wins it. Even if it's not them, they've deserved to win it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they're the 2 favourites. Number 3, honestly, I think you probably get a surprise. I don't think it's. I think you get a shock. I think it could be someone like I say, Felix, or maybe even Paul Smith. It's whoever. Because I always say this with these shows, like when you put a medley in there, people mess that up. Like, you can deadlift and you know what you can press, and it's all. Whereas people sometimes lose their mind on that medley, and if you mess that up, well, you're not going to win Britain's Strongest Man or get on the podium.
It's true.
So I think it'd be nice. I think it's a nice thing we don't know who's going to do it. And also let's remember that 3rd spot gets you to World's Strongest Man.
There's a lot of pressure.
So it could be this Ryan gets an invite to World's Strongest Man. You know what I mean? How cool is that?
Be amazing.
Yeah, and there's no reason why not. It's all to play for.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty about these shows. They don't just end. You get to go to something else afterwards,
I think someone that maybe has a lot of pressure on themselves, and we have not spoken about, is Andy Black.
Yeah.
Andy Black's an athlete that kind of burst onto the scene. I think he did the Deadlift World Championships, and he stepped in last minute in Manchester. He pulled a huge number, and we were all kind of super impressed by him. And then last year, he's not quite delivered in terms of what we were expecting. And obviously, the other 2 Scottish lads have been invited ahead of him, and he's just managed to squeeze in because athletes have pulled out. So,
Lewis won Scotland's Strongest Man,
Indeed,
so he gets a direct invite. And then obviously we take from that show. That's where we pick from. I think Andy's got a lot of pressure to perform. I think he's had a bad year last year. That's cool. We've all had.
I remember Tom Stoltman doing very badly at Britain's Strongest Man one year. Was the best thing that happened to him because he went away, came back, and he was unbelievable.
That's it. But also to remember, we've saved a couple of spots for Europe's Strongest Man. So it might be if someone impresses, they get an invite there, which is only a few weeks away, which is another qualifier for Worlds. Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be interesting.
It is. Tell everyone where they can watch this show, because obviously, I mean, live. Is there any tickets available?
There's a few tickets left, yeah, and all the tickets in this arena are good, as you know, because the seats aren't too high. It's a nice arena. So a few tickets left, and then you can watch it online at officialstrongman.com.
Excellent, guys. Make sure you go and tune into that. 5 p.m. it starts.
5 p.m. Yeah.
Guys, last thing, give me a top 3.
Me, then Adam, then Shane Flowers. No pressure because I'm saying
Putting Darren on the spot.
I'm going to say 1 and 2
Yeah.
would be Hicksy or Bish. I'm not going to call it because he's sat here, and I think they're both very close. I think whoever makes a mistake won't get it.
Yeah.
I think number 3, just because I want it so much, I'm going to say Mark Felix. But it's only because I want it so much.
It would just be so good to see Mark.
Like nearly 60 on the podium, back at Worlds.
Can you imagine?
It would be great.
It will be.
I think it can happen. I'm going to,
Yeah, I did a prediction on my own channel, but I said Hicksy, Bish, and I actually said Felix.
Did
as
you?
well.
Right, okay.
Just because I think that's the fan in me,
Yeah.
just kind of hopeful that Felix can do it. I think Shane, Gav, and Paul are the other 3 to look out for
Definitely,
that third
yeah.
spot. But
Yeah.
guys, make sure you tune in, officialstrongman.com. We will get ourselves away to get this man rested. We'll see you guys soon. Take care.